Hello, good day to you all, and welcome to the second day of the Holiday Tech Skills program, still in week one. And my name is Ofori-Dartey, and I will be taking you through the lessons for the day. So, today's objectives. By the end of today's session, we should be able to identify the main parts of the Scratch environment. We should be able to explain at least one use of each part and be able to list 3 different things you can create using Scratch. Finally, you should be able to explain animation in your own words. A quick recap of yesterday's session. So, can you take about 2 minutes, pause the video at this point, and try to remember the lessons from yesterday? And then write them in your reflection journal. I hope you paused the video and took your time to write down things that you remember from yesterday's session. Just a recap, yesterday we learned what coding is. We learned that coding is the process of giving your computer a set of instructions for it to perform. One other important thing we learned was that coding is based on organization. That organization of your codes is very important in coding. We also learned a very critical term, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. We learned that the kind of results you receive from your computer is determined by the kind of instructions you give it. So, if you do not like the response your computer gives you, check your instructions. Okay, now let's go on with what we need to do today. Do you remember yesterday that there are so many languages that the computer understands? And we even mentioned that just as the human being understands and speaks certain languages, the computer also has a whole lot of languages it understands. And we looked at a few of them, including Python. Well, Scratch is one of such programming languages. Scratch was developed by a group of students at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and based on some of the programming languages already discussed. And the idea of Scratch is to help children and older people create stories, games, and animations. Scratch is also an online community. As you'll be seeing very soon, you are even able to share your Scratch projects with a wider community globally, and you are able to have access to other projects shared by these same groups. In effect, we can say that Scratch is a free programming language and online community created by a group at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology where you can create interactive stories, games, and animations. It is designed to help you think creatively, reason logically, and work collaboratively. So, if we say something is interactive, it means that you, the one using it or playing the game, you can do something and then it will respond. What you can input a message and it can respond. That means interactive. You are interacting with the game or story or whatever you are watching. And then if we say Scratch is designed to help you think creatively, we mean that you are able to create your own ideas. You are able to modify other projects that have been created by other individuals, add your own designs, add your own ideas, and then make it your own. When we say you reason logically, we mean that you react or you do something based on facts. You do not allow emotions to get in the way. Let's say an example. Your friend Deborah comes to you and comes to tell you, hey, do you know that Abna said so and so and so about you? And whatever Abna is reported to have said is not good, it's not pleasant. How would you react in that very moment? Are you going to go straight to Abna and ask her, why did you say these things about me? Are you going to start hating on Abna that she said these things about you? Or are you going to pause and ask yourself certain questions? Questions like, did I hear Abna saying it myself? How true can this be? The person reporting Abna to me, what motive do they carry? And until you arrive at a conclusion that proves beyond any reasonable doubt that Abna really said those things about you, you refuse to react. Which of these three responses will you normally go for? Well, if you think logically or you reason logically, you would go for the third option. You wouldn't react until you have all the facts of the case. You wouldn't react you wouldn't react negatively even after finding that really Abna said such. You would decide to think, go deeper into it. Why did Abna say that? What could have driven Abna to say that? Did Abna also hear such from someone else? Or was Abna speaking from ignorance? That could be another opportunity for you to actually educate Abna instead of flying in a rage that would not end well at all. So, we will be learning how to think logically through the codes that we'll be working on. And then when we say you work collaboratively, we already mentioned that Scratch is an online community. So you get the opportunity to share your projects. Others are able to see it. They are able to modify it. You also get the opportunity to see other people's projects. You'll get the opportunity to modify it, see it, and get ideas from it. That is working collaboratively, working in a team. And you're even able to work with another person elsewhere on the same project. That is working collaboratively. Now, just before we go on and download the Scratch application on our devices, let's take a stroll on the Scratch interface. So, I want you to click on this icon, on this link. This link is going to take you to the Scratch website. So let's click on that. Now, this is the Scratch website. Here, you would see that I am already signed in with my account. So I'm going to log out because I should be able to show you how it looks without you signed in. And this is what you are going to see. Here, before we go into any other features, I want us to take a look at about 2 projects that have been created by people here. So we can see some featured projects here. We can see wonderful projects that have been created here. Let's click into one and see what it is about. Party time. I love party times. So when we click in it, it's actually a group of projects that have been shared by others. So let's see what this project is about. Scratch Day. Now here, you can go ahead and play. And I hope you are able to hear the sound. Let me just be sure that you can hear the sound. Yes, this is a happy birthday Scratch. Scratch recently celebrated their birthday, and this person decided to create a project just to honor Scratch. How wonderful. Now you can go a step further to click on See Inside to be able to have a look at the project that the person created. Well, we need to stop it and then be able to hear my voice. Here you can see the codes that the person used. You can see the sprites the person used. This gives you the opportunity The see inside option gives you the opportunity to have a deeper look into the project the person has created and even get some ideas and be able to learn from it. You'd be able to learn, for example, that, oh, this and this particular set of codes is what made this particular character behave this way. Let's look at another project. And I know you'll be confused at this point, especially if you are very new to Scratch. Do not worry, because by the time we are done with this first month, you would be well on your way to creating wonderful projects yourself. Let's listen to this. And as usual, you'll be able to click on see inside and then see the kind of codes this person used. Let's look at a final project and then we go on. I'm going to see a simpler project. So this is also in honor of Scratch Week 2026. And as usual, you can click to play. Hmm.
A few moments later.
You can also see, click and then see inside and then see how this person went about creating their projects. This is actually one of the quite simpler projects that you can create. It uses a few sets of codes and heavy on the design aspects. So these are just a few of the projects that have been created in Scratch. And after today's lesson, I want you to take the time and then explore the Scratch interface yourself and then see how it can be used. Now, let's see how we can download our Scratch application on our devices. So, you come to a new tab. You come to a new tab by clicking on this plus icon. I had a plus icon here, which I clicked on, and then I search for Scratch download. Scratch download. It comes to come with options, whether Scratch download or Scratch download PC. Any one of them works, and you click on enter. And then it brings you here. You can use the Scratch offline editor option. Please note, use the one that is from Scratch. There will be other options like one from Soft and other websites. Some are genuine, some aren't, but just to be on the safe side, let's use the one from this website we recognize. So we are using this one saying Scratch offline editor, and it's showing clearly that it is from Scratch. So we click on it, and then it brings us to the download page. Now, depending on the device you're using, whether you're using Windows, Mac, um, Windows or Apple device, which will be using the Mac operating system, or you're using a Chromebook, which will be using the Chrome operating system, or you're using an Android tablet, which will be using the Android operating system, as you can see here. Now, usually, depending on the device you're using, the specific operating system will be chosen. So we are using Windows. No matter which one you're using, as soon as you come here, click on direct download. Direct download. Now, as soon as you let me share my whole screen so that you are able to see the download happening in real time. Okay, so when I click on direct download, it's going to start the download here, the setup. Well, you can see two here because I've already downloaded it about two other times. So I'm going to pause this because I have it already, but you are going to allow it to finish downloading. And then this is what I downloaded previously. So once it's done downloading, you see something like this. and you see when you put your mouse on it, you see open file. So let me go back a step. After clicking on direct download, you should see your download happening automatically at the top here. And then you click on this arrow, which is the downloads. It completes downloading. It looks like this with no progress bar showing, like this, with open file. Don't click on open file. Click on the file itself to start installing. Now, once you click on it, this pop-up comes, and then you click on run. Clicking on run will take you through the installation process. So it says select one, anyone who uses this computer or only for me. If your computer is just for you, any one of these options goes. If you use the computer with other people and the other people may not want to have a Scratch application installed on their devices, they may have other accounts on the same device, then choose only for me. But if you do not have that situation, just go ahead with any of them. Anyone who uses this computer is what I usually use. And then you click on install. It asks you to allow this app to make changes to your device. You say yes, and then it starts installing. So you can see here that the installation process is going on. Well, I already have Scratch installed on my device, but I'm going through this process so you can easily do that. And then you're done, you click finish. So this automatically launch the Scratch application. Hmm. Here we are. Now it is going to ask you whether you want to share your usage data with Scratch. This is not asking me because I already installed Scratch previously, but you are going to see it if you are installing Scratch for the first time. And if you want to use Scratch to be able to know the way you are using the application to help them improve upon the use of the application, then you should go ahead and allow them. If not, you can decide not to allow them. And then you come into the Scratch interface. So this is the Scratch interface. So we've downloaded Scratch. Now we are coming to the Scratch environment or the Scratch editor. You can call it the Scratch editor or the Scratch environment as mentioned here. So what are the various parts of the Scratch environment or the Scratch editor? There are four main sections. We have the block palettes. So this is the block palette. The block palette is made up of this section and this section. The colored round circles all to the way to the bottom, and these blocks you see here all the way to the bottom. These are all parts of the block palette, and you can see that it's made up of the code palette and the code blocks. So the code palettes are the round colored circle section. These are the code palettes, and these are the code blocks. So if you click on any of the code palettes, you see their corresponding code blocks. Let's click on the events code palettes and see what happens. So when we click on the events code palette, you see the events code blocks. You click on the operators code palette, you see the operators code blocks. So we know that the combination of the two, the code palette and the code blocks, form the block palette. Now, the second section is the coding area or the script area. So the coding area is this whole section, this whole empty section where my mouse is hovering, is where you drag your code blocks to. For example, if I want to drag this block, if I want to give the computer an instruction, I drag it to the code or the script area. So this is where your instructions will be. And then the third section is the stage. The third section is the stage. The stage is where the sprite acts out the instructions you give it. This is the stage where the cat character is. You've already heard me mentioning sprites a few times. I will tell you what the sprite is. Anyway, so the scratch character acts out the instructions in the stage or on the stage. And then the final section is the sprite area. So the sprite area is the area under the stage, the sprite area. And then the sprite area is made up of the sprite menu and the backdrop menu, and then these other options that you have to change the way your character behaves. So can we do a quick recap? We have the block palette, which is made up of the code palette and then the code blocks. And then we have the code or script area, we have the stage, and we have the sprite area. Now, this is what helps us be able to create our animations, our games, and our stories. Now, I already gave an image here that you label the various parts, which we just went through. So you can do this in your free time. Now, if you look at these things that have been indicated here, you see that they match with the various code palettes. So you can do this in your free time, learning what each of the code palettes is responsible for. So the motion code palette is responsible for the movements of your characters. The looks code palette helps you change the appearance of your characters. And by the way, the characters are called sprites. And you can see the spelling, sprites. And as we come here to, you can see it's sprites. So the name of the characters, they have different names, but the characters are referred to as sprites in Scratch. Now, let's take a quick tour of the other parts of Scratch. Here we have code. So when you click on code, you see the code blocks. When you click on costumes, you are going to see the costumes of your character. When you click on sounds, you're able to add sound, you're able to modify the sound. When you click on choose a sprite, which we'll be doing tomorrow, you're able to see a lot of the sprites or characters that Scratch has available in their database. Yeah. And then when you click on backdrops, you're able to see all the backdrops that Scratch has. We'll be going into detail in each of these sections as time goes on. And then you have extensions where you are able to add other code blocks that may not be available here. All right, so let's proceed. Now, I want us to look at the kind of things that you can create in Scratch. You can create animations. So, example of animations you can create an animation showing what you plan to do this holiday, or an animation of a conversation. You can create games, examples. You can create a math game to practice your times table, or you can create a spelling game to help your younger sibling practice their spelling. You can create stories as well. You can retell your life story in a positive light, or you can tell the story of your community to other people. Now let's dive into what animation is, which is the main thing we'll be doing this month. So, what is animation? Before we go into that, I want you to remember an animation you've watched before. Oh, if you do not know what animation is, some people usually call it cartoons. So, two of the animations that I've watched, and I know you may have also watched, is Frozen, and then we have also Paw Patrol, which a lot of the children watch these days. So, in Elsa or in Frozen, there are certain characters. One is called Elsa. Do you believe that Elsa is an actual human being somewhere, looking exactly as she is, doing all the things that she was portrayed to have done in the animation called Frozen? I hope you didn't believe that. Well, Elsa is actually a group of images that were drawn with her different poses. At one point, if Elsa was dancing or singing, Elsa was drawn with the different poses that when brought together will look like she's dancing or she's speaking or she's speaking or she's dancing or she's moving or doing any other thing. And that applies to Paw Patrol as well. So with this idea, we can say that animation is the process of creating a sequence of images that simulate movement. Here too, I'd like you to pause so that if there's a word you do not understand here, you take about 2 minutes, search it online, what is, and for example, if you do not understand the word simulate, you can search online for what is the meaning of simulate and then write it in your journal. Let's go on. Now we move on to the types of animation. We have lip sync animation. This is the situation where you can see the character's mouth moving with the words. So if you happen to pause the sound of the video you are watching, you can actually read the lips of the character. That means the character's mouth is lip synced with the words. Another type of animation is walk cycle. So this is where the character appears to walk. I already told you in animation, the character is not actually moving, but then the images in different poses are brought together to simulate a movement. So where the character is walking, we can say that is a walk cycle. And then we have stop motion. That is when there is a sequence of images brought together to create the simulation of movement. This is the main type of animation because it is depicted in all the other types of animation. So we are bringing our lesson to an end, almost an end. But before then, I would like to remind you to watch today's video again if there's any part you didn't understand, and also your task before we end. So in your journal, write down the names of 2 animations you have watched aside the 2 that I mentioned, and then choose one of those animations and then one of the scenes in those animations, probably where Elsa was dancing or doing something else, and then explain how was animation used here. But remember, you are not allowed to use any of the animations I mentioned. Now, how do we apply this to our lives? Scratch interface is not the only thing with a purpose. You have a purpose as well. Just as every one of the 4 parts of the Scratch interface had a purpose, you also have a purpose. Do you know your purpose? Can you think about it? Let me give you an example. My purpose is to help children realize their full potential by exposing them to both academic and social learning experiences that positively stimulate their minds. Because this is my purpose, I make sure that whatever I do contributes to that purpose. An example is this program that I'm showing you. I'm recording this video right now. I've created this curriculum right now because I want you to realize your full potential. And I am doing that through academic and social learning experiences so that your minds will be jogged, your minds will be stimulated. You start thinking about new things that you've never ever thought about that will push you to realize your full potential. Now, let me ask you, what is your purpose? Can you note it down in your journal? And don't be in a rush. You may not be able to realize it now, but as you start thinking about it, things start coming to you. And one other thing you should note, your purpose is not static for the rest of your life. Your purpose could be different at different points in your life. So this is my purpose now. My purpose previously was different. My purpose 5 years to come could be different. But then I want you to start thinking about it. You may not be able to realize it today. As I said, don't be in a rush. Don't be sad if you don't find it today or tomorrow or next week or next month. I just want you to start thinking about it. I want you to start putting your mind to it, and then it will come to you. You should look around the things you love doing, the things that interests you, things that worry you. If you see a problem somewhere, that may be a cue that you need to do something about it. So I hope you really enjoyed our session today, and I will see you tomorrow. Be sure to watch today's recording again so that you really understand all that you have done. Have a wonderful day and see you tomorrow. Bye.